Hello valued viewers, I hope you're doing very well. It's mid-May 2023. Recently confirmed is that the UK will be supplying their long-range Storm Shadow cruise missile to Ukraine. You guys have asked us to do a video about it. I looked back in our playlist and we've already done a tactical use scenario of Storm Shadow. If you haven't seen this before, we used 4 Eurofighters, each using 4 Storm Shadows, so a total salvo of 16 Storm Shadows at the Crimean Kerch Bridge that joins Crimea and Russia. It's actually a really good scenario. I suggest you watch it if you haven't. We also used Ukrainian seed to help distract the SA-21 S-400 that was defending the bridge, and we had other Eurofighters as air cover. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, of the 16 Storm Shadows we fired, 14 were taken out by Pantsir SM and the S-400, but 2, crucially, got through and took the bridge down. So I don't see the point in doing another tactical use. Instead, we're going to do a kind of pseudo-scientific test like we like to do. We're going to find out in a non-tactical, sterile environment which of the modern Russian air defense systems can protect a point target from Storm Shadow. First, let's look at the different systems Russia has. Starting at the very bottom end, SA-18, the modernized Igla Manpad. IR-guided missiles. Next, technically a prototype, but could be used, the 2S38. I should say at this point, I've got my friend CH here. Say hello, CH.
Hello. Yeah, as you mentioned, it's more a concept or a technology demonstrator. They were looking into replacement of the Tunguska. And I made it since it's pretty cool technology. It's a 57mm SPAAAG, self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. It even have a very special round, the 57mm laser-guided shell.
Wow, really? That's pretty cool. Is this capable in real life, or should this be capable of shooting down cruise missiles?
Yeah, that's the point.
Next, we've got from the 1990s, SA-15M1, so the first modernised branch of the Tor system. This was, again, pretty much designed to shoot down cruise missiles. It's a VLS SHORAD system. The next layer of modernisation is the Pantsir series. There are 4 Pantsirs in existence. We have 3, S1, S2 and SM. We don't have the very most modern one. We've got the S1 here, and if you want to know more about these, we've done detailed videos explaining exactly how these work, how the missiles work, and stuff like that, but we're just going to gloss over it for now. S2 with improved radar and improved missiles, then a big leap to the SM, everything improved again, plus a different truck format. Purely out of interest, just because someone just messaged me this here. It's a video from Ukraine of a Pantsir SM, oh no, it's Pantsir S1, being destroyed by a drone just a few days ago. It was quite interesting, but anyway, that's for another day. And then we have the motherlode, the SA-21 S-400. It's fairly old now, over 15 years old, but it's still the mainstay of long-range air defense and is very much capable of shooting down cruise missiles. It involves several units, and we have 2 different types of tails, tail A and tail B, each with different types of missiles for varying ranges. And on to the scenario, CH. Like I said, it's super simple, super sterile to keep it as scientific as we can. We have a target. It's just an ammo bunker and there are no humans present. This is purely scientific, shooting at inanimate objects. We are going to fire a Storm Shadow from pretty much its maximum range of 155 miles. We will salvo 4 of them from 1 aircraft. What will Ukraine fire them with? Well, here's an option. They're MiG-29, and that's what it looks like with 4 Storm Shadows on. Now, we can't go and do this because she won't actually fly with the 4 Storm Shadows on. They're too heavy and they're too draggy, and I have problems with them actually damaging the aircraft when we launch them. That's going to take a lot of problem solving, as it would do in real life, to get around. So for the time being, we're bringing in the RAF using a Eurofighter to launch 4 of them, much more suitable for launching them.
The MiG-29 can probably only carry 1 in the middle, and they are actually looking into having their Su-24s carry them because they are actually ground attack.
Yeah, I suppose it's probably a really stupid idea for me to choose the MiG-29, viewers. It is not suitable for these big loads at all, and yeah, I could have done an Su-24, and I probably should have, but we're out of time now, so we'll go with the Eurofighter. We'll take it in turns, starting with the smallest up to the biggest. Let's make some early predictions, CH. In our simulation, which of these systems can reliably intercept Storm Shadow?
That's interesting because it's ground hugging, very low altitude flying. It's not that fast, but it's goes all around the hills and up and down. And we have learned from these tests before that these systems need some time to acquire the target and actually to be able to defeat them. So I think it's one thing is a lot about the placement, as we have tried different stuff with before, and also how long it can keep the lock on it, because it will go up and down in hills. So depending on how the terrain is where we fire them, I think also will go.
That's something we learned from the last test we did. I'm just going to bring it up now, is that the terrain and the placement of the defense systems are so important. You can have a brilliant defense system that works in one position, but you move it back a couple of miles and it becomes absolutely terrible. And in terms of realism, this is a non-military grade sim that we have, but it is otherwise the best sim out there and pretty decent. And we do have some precedent of getting this right, CH. Regarding this video here, we used the modernized US Patriot system, and we fire at it Iskander-M hypersonic missiles. We found that the existing Ukrainian defenses, these guys here, could absolutely not shoot that Iskander-M missile down, and we found in real life they can't. And we found that Patriot could, not 100% reliably, but could shoot Iskander hypersonic missile down. And what just happened in the news a week ago? The first Patriot battery sent to Ukraine has shot an hypersonic missile down. So I found that really interesting, a corroboration of how we simmed everything. Real life is showing the same thing. Any comments on that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. As you mentioned, the King Charles, the air launch version was actually shot down. So that's pretty much as we found out here, but we don't actually know. They haven't disclosed what kind of Patriot missile it was. So yeah, that's something we have to figure out ourselves.
Right, let's start with our first test. We'll start with the Manpad. Eurofighter starts 155 miles away. We're going to separate the defense systems around the target to try and reduce the amount of problems they might have. There will be linked units, so they'll be data linked together, and they'll be set to red alert. So they're set up, they're expecting the missile, and they're ready to fire. So it's what we call the perfect scenario for the defenders. In real life, they're not going to be expecting the missile, so the reaction times wouldn't be this good. So imagine this as a perfect sterile simulation with everything set up in the Russians' favor. That's important that you remember that when you compare that to real life. But that's the way we like to run all of these pseudo-scientific attempts. Right, off we go.
Yeah, that's always an issue. I mean, if you really want to secure an area, you need to have all your radars pointing in that direction. But the issue with having all your radars turned on is that they will become targets eventually.
Yeah, it's absolutely. So 100% real life is much harder for the defenders than we're doing here. As well as that, in this case, they pretty much know where the missiles are going to be coming from. The real Storm Shadow, in fact, we should say this as well, the real Storm Shadow could be programmed to be vectored in from different angles, making it much more difficult to defend from. We can't really do that. We have to fire it at just line of sight straight to the target. Also, there are some parts of the Storm Shadow we cannot model. We think we've got its detectability about right in terms of its radar return, but the real Storm Shadow will be much more complex. It will have electronic warfare suite, jammers on board, and we cannot model that. So again, some small differences. Right, let's have a look at our sexy Eurofighter. Even Eurofighter struggles, so we have to go full dry power just to stay aloft with these four things. They're incredibly heavy units. So yeah, the MiG-29 had no chance to just fall out of the sky. And there we go.
You stay away from dogfighting with those on.
Yeah, so we're not dogfight with them, CH. We'll make terrible dogfight weapons and burners on and get the chaff out of here. See you later.
They are, I think, 5 meters long. They are 3,000 pounds. And they have a 1,000-pound warhead.
So that's
and it's one of these penetrating warheads, so it will penetrate pretty far, and that's one of their unique abilities. And then they have a delayed fuse, so it will explode from within with a 1,000-pound warhead.
Yeah, that is everything about that is big. Everything about that's power. I mean, as well, the price tag being European, of course, it's hideously expensive as well. But
so it's a turbojet, as you mentioned. It's low observable, and it's very long range. I think we'll eventually go down and fly very, very low, and being also low observable will make it a really hard target just to yeah, even with the radars pointing at that direction, it's hard to notice them coming around. And they will actually be both GPS guided, as we mentioned, I think before, that there are some GPS jamming going on. But these also has, I think, INS and also a terrain map program into them, so they will actually know where they are, even if they are jammed parts of the bit they're going. So, and then they will do a jump at the end when they're going for the target, and then actually, which isn't modeled here, they will actually blow off the nose cone and expose a very advanced camera to actually check if the target is actually what it's programmed to target.
Wow.
So it's a fail-safe in the end, and then so they will know it's correct. And they can also have a secondary target just to be able to not blow up what it shouldn't blow up when the target finds out what it is.
You know that napped camera that we were talking about to check the target, is that man-in-the-loop technology? Is that going to be checked by a human, or is that all AI inside?
No, these first versions of it actually have no communications back. You can't even self-destruct it from remote and so. So it's, you program it, it's fire and forget. That's also a good thing when it comes to fitting them to the Ukraine aircraft, just like the harms. Just stuff everything in these. You just have to make them release. Since the aircraft here is the booster, you have a release and they will do everything by themselves as you have programmed them.
Just talking about GPS jammers, which obviously Russia is jamming GPS at the moment, I think, well, at least the viewers tell me, it's very rare to have a weapon nowadays that is purely reliant on GPS. It's usually GPS and INS or other systems as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I mentioned, this one also have, which is also pretty common with the terrain mapping inside it. It actually checks for certain things, so they know it's on the right way and then recalibrate. Just like you would do as a human if you're using INS or something like that. Look for landmarks and then reacquire your position.
A great example of what CH was talking about the ground hugging ability. Ground hugging ability is nothing new. American missiles were doing it, I don't know, pretty 50 years ago or something. But look how useful it is, viewers, because going so low, nowhere is perfectly flat. Even Ukraine isn't perfectly flat. There's always some undulations. And if you go low enough, it makes you basically invisible after just a few miles. Look at those hills. So its ground hugging ability makes it completely safe. That said, it can't go too low. It goes too low, it hits washing lines and things and blows up. So it's that balance it's got to get. Right.
Yeah, it also would blow a lot of the fuel if you had to go too much up and down all the time.
Let's go and see what happens. But your predictions with SA-18, which are absolutely not designed to shoot down missiles, but they can. As you see in videos from Ukraine, Ukrainian soldiers are using this launcher here, the Igla, and they are shooting down, not these, they're shooting down caliber cruise missiles, which are easier to shoot down than Storm Shadow. They are slower and they go slightly higher. These are harder to shoot down and they go faster and they go lower. But your prediction anyway?
Because these manpads are, don't forget, they are heat seekers, and how much heat is that one producing? It's actually meant to not produce that much. So as opposed to the calibers, for example, let's see how well made these are. I think that's the issue here, if you can't get a good track.
I would say zero chance, but they're coming into the range ring now. Let's go and have a look. They will do a pop-up, viewers, that they probably would do in real life, because if you don't pop up, you're probably just going to run into the side of the target or a tree before the target.
Yeah, they want the penetration, but also be able, as I mentioned, to check if the target is correct with the camera. It would now blow out the nose cone and turn on the camera.
No, they're not even aiming. Not even aiming. There they are. Look at that, coming at 600 knots. Pam!
Yeah.
Smashed! The size of the warhead, this guy got hurt. He's moving because he got hurt.
I mean, imagine yourself standing there with that one, with the Igla pointing in the air for 5 hours.
Right.
How large would you be?
And another great example, because a lot of you guys, the viewers, rightly say, oh, these sims you do are stupid. You show them really good, but in real life they're crap. And that's absolutely right. In this perfect sterile environment, this AI man will sit for 24 hours a day with perfect, he doesn't waver. He doesn't need his Weetabix. He doesn't need to eat. He doesn't need to pee. In real life, everything is much more inefficient for so many reasons. And that little video I just showed on the screen before with that Pantsir getting shot, it got shot because it was vulnerable, because it had broken down. Real life stuff breaks down on all coalitions.
Not only that, everything is based on humans doing stuff. And we all know humans are
the weakest link.
Fallible. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So treat these experiments with the right mindset, viewers, of this is what is possible if everything works perfectly all of the time. And then you've got to apply to that the human factor and the non-vacuum real factor. Right, viewers, we're now going on the prototype S2S38. I'm going to ask for your prediction. By the way, none of these are scripted or tried. We don't do it, viewers. We just push play and see what happens, and I don't know what's going to happen. But your predictions, are they going to be able to shoot the Storm Shadow down? Yeah,
this is actually, it's interesting because we're moving up pretty quickly here on the ladder, because this is a very, as I mentioned, a prototype, a concept technology demonstrator. It's very new, so it has new technology. As I mentioned, the laser guided ammunition also. So and its ability to detect systems is pretty modern, as I have modeled it. So it should be able to detect it, but I'm not sure it will be able to hit it, because even though these are subsonic missiles going low, they are actually less transsonic. They're moving pretty fast to be subsonic missiles, which is always hard to hit with these kind of shells on a SPAAAG.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they probably can kill cruise missiles, viewers, even in game here. But Storm Shadow is so fast, so fast. Look at it, it's just transonic. I don't know. Let's see what happens. All of these units we're using today are sure out apart from SA-21. What I'm going to probably do is watch from here and see if they... Yeah, look! Turret friggin' moved! Oh my god, pause! What was that? It's like a slow bullet.
Exactly, you can see I have modeled the...
What the heck is that?
Guided shells.
So this is a guided shell. Has it got a booster on it? Is that...
No, that's
just the way you did it.
Yeah, the DCS stuff. It will, flip the wings there also. The fins, yeah.
Wow, look at that. Guided bullet, viewers. Who would have thought? Oh, it missed! It missed. It missed. They're all missing.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's what I thought. It would be able to track it, but it will be hard to hit them, because these are they're still shells, so they can't turn like missiles or anything like that.
And now the normal rounds are going out. 57mm rounds. Look, can they hit?
Yeah.
Now that pause. I'm just going to say the rate of fire is terrible. So look at the American way of doing it. You put phalanx, you put Sea-Wiz in, and you just put thousands of rounds out per minute. This is putting one round, and however accurate your gun is, it's never going to be mega accurate. So surely the phalanx way of doing things, of having 1,000,000 rounds a minute, is going to be the best way.
Yeah, I would actually disagree, because we're seeing phalanxes are going more or less out of business, because what you have nowadays are very accurate larger caliber cannons, but they are actually with programmable ammunition, and they will create large fragment clouds around it, but we can't at the moment simulate that in here. So
right.
That's where we're going, I would say.
So you're saying the rounds in real life now, the modern rounds, the modern guns are intelligent in that they can choose when to explode. Huh. Yeah. Oh, we'll have to do some more of that. But yeah, like CH said, we don't have the tech in game to do that at the moment. But that's interesting. One day maybe. Yeah. No.
They're doing their best.
Yeah. In real life, any idea if these rounds would be programmable?
No, not the laser guided ones. They are, that's impressive enough to make them laser guided.
And
I wouldn't even be sure that Russia would be able to make a lot of them either. So it's more a concept.
I'm guessing that when the way it would work is when the round was being fired, I'm guessing it would get an electric pulse from somewhere in the barrel that would tell it, okay, explode at 598 milliseconds.
Huh. Yeah, exactly. They are programmed by it's tech in the barrel,
Right, well, isn't that interesting, viewers? No, they failed, viewers. Next, we have SA-15M1. So it's a 1990s variant of the SA-15 Tor here, viewers. You probably all know it from Core Game already, so I won't waste too much time, but it has 8 VLS-launched missiles in. It's SHORAD, up to about 5 miles. It has its own search and track radar. And my prediction is, because we don't have any EW simulated for these Storm Shadows, I can't see a way that they can beat something that's specifically designed to do this job. Your predictions?
The only thing, that's that they will struggle with is that they are launched right up in the air, and that could be very good for something, but when our short range stuff coming in low, they have to waste energy first going up and then find target and then going down. That's the only thing that could save the Storm Shadows right now. This kind of system that aren't pointed against the target.
I always wondered why these were VLS. I always found it a weird way of doing it. I wonder if the real reason for that is... Oh, hang on. It's doing a thing. Yep, it's found them. I mean, it's found that it's got to point that towards them. It's an array. Track radar. I assumed it's because it was for shooting down missiles that were going to come straight in. There it is. Okay. Got a shot. Track it. Oh, I love the sim sometimes. And... Oh, it missed! It missed! And it hit... No, it missed again. Look at that!
Yeah.
I did not expect that. It's missing.
Yeah, they did everything right except hitting the target.
That is really unexpected, viewers. One through?
I think it is a combination of the speed here and it's actually movement where it goes up, and also the low
it killed three
feature. Yeah.
It killed three. And you saw it, viewers. It went for them. It just couldn't quite get close enough for its proxy fuse to go off.
Yeah.
Wow, what a piece of science, viewers. How close is that to real life? I mean, we'll find out in a few days, I imagine.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's pretty close to real life.
I reckon we're honing these things in, CH. Again, everything in this sim is done to public information, viewers, and there's a lot of systems on these weapons that are not for public eyes, so we can only do the surface modeling on it, but most things we've shown have actually come true, so just saying. Right, we're moving on to what is replacing the SA-15, the modernised Pantsir system. This is the Series 1. I have to say at this point, seeing what the Tor could do there, I'm pretty sure these are going to make mincemeat of them. They are superior to it.
Yeah, they're extremely fast, the missiles, and they are actually pointed at them. So I think it will come down to how well they can lock the targets. I think, once again, with the RCS on these targets, now they move, so they will actually do everything right, just as they did to work, but might still miss.
And in terms of how the missile hits the other missile, viewers, it's all modelled in terms of, you know, it's all modelled well in terms of this missile has to get close enough to this missile to set off its radio or its laser proxy fuse for it to blow up. But all that stuff is modelled. And
yeah, and don't forget that the Tor missiles are large comparison to the Pantsir. The Pantsir are more like arrows.
Deliberately small, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of its range, it's actually somewhere between short and medium range, I would say. The modern ones are going like 15 miles or something, aren't they? Right, I'll stop yapping now. Now, here's the problem. We are technically within firing range now, but because these are so low, they can't see them. Although Earth's curvature is not modelled in terms of the graphics views, it is modelled in terms of the radars and the sensors and stuff. So it can't see them. They're just too low. And the altitude is not 800 feet, as it says down the bottom. That's ASL. It's probably about 150 feet or something. When will it get line of sight? As well as that, modelled are reaction times. Again, it's kind of guesswork from CH, but he has to model the reaction times of the radar, the system, the turrets spinning, all that stuff is going to come into effect. Yeah.
You can see the EOS turner first.
I'm going to pause this time. Now look how the missile fires much more efficiently, viewers. Just like the CH had, the last one went up, then had to turn, and then do awkward maneuvers. This one is actually built so it points in the right freaking direction in the first place.
And it's super fast with a boost, an enormous boost in comparison to the small actual missile.
And that's presumably going to give it more maneuverability. The heavier the missile, the crapper it is at turning.
Yeah.
They've got it before they've even, this time they've fired before they've even popped up. So it's all around, it's just a better system, viewers, as it is obviously in real life. You know, it's 80s tech versus... Got it! Did you see that, viewers? It did exactly what it does in real life. It's designed to fly, not into it, but beside it. Then its fuse detects it in a little ring, and then the frag pattern, and then that's it. All right, and that's probably just going to wipe them out now. Hit.
Yeah.
Hit. And hit. Oh, no, miss. It shows that they're fallible, viewers. Everything's modelled here. And that's it. They took him down. Yeah. So, as we've got it modelled, without the EW and stuff of the thingy, and its ability to come in at funny angles, like I said, in real life, it can do wiggly wigglies. We can't do that. It does smash them down. The writing's probably on the wall from now on, viewers. Probably, as we go these
At least for the Pantsir S2, yeah, it would be.
They'll just get better and
really
better now.
If that one didn't do it,
yeah, right.
Exactly.
Then we know we've probably done something wrong, but that's happened. That said, as we've shown in this video before, there's always a little bit of element of luck, as it kind of is in real life. You know, one of the missiles might be slightly erroneous for some reason. And that is
and we have modeled more and more of that actually to make it more realistic, because as you mentioned, these stuff aren't perfect.
Right.
In no way, shape or form.
Speaking of that, viewers, because CH is adding fallibility to the systems, there's a lot of old stuff we need to go that we've done before. We need to go and redo, especially with intercepting hypersonic missiles, which we're getting better at modelling. We need to go back and redo that stuff, but it's just time. It takes time. It's got a slightly better range. You probably know this stuff by now better than me, viewers, but it's got range of break. Wow, 16 miles. What a beast of a kit. Modern, these are wheeled instead of tracked. Advantages are faster?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're faster. Yeah, they will get stuck much easier, and it's probably cheaper to maintain.
Absolutely. In fact, I was learning from George the other day, our kind of tank guy, about how difficult it is to maintain tracked vehicles. How often you have to replace the tracks. All that rubbish you don't even think about. I mean,
exactly.
Some guys got to sit there and
it's like helicopters, you know. After a couple of hours, you have to do a lot of stuff. Wheels also need some maintenance. You remember when the Ukraine war started? All the Russian vehicles. It's breaking down. Storage. And stand in one spot. Yeah, it actually shouldn't be an issue at all.
Right.
They have even more time on their hand here.
Yeah, better reaction time, better missiles, and wiped out even more efficiently, viewers. Well, that's what. Remember, it's a perfect vacuum situation we've got here, but still proof of concept.
And we have 4 of them, as you mentioned. This could be a problem otherwise. For example, the Tor with all the 2 channels, and these have the first one had 2 channels, and these have 4 channels. But even one Pantsir would actually be struggling to handle 4 incoming ones. Yeah,
that's a really good point. So we've got probably, viewers, an unrealistically high amount of units here, depending on how important this target is, I suppose. But from what I've seen, it's unlikely you're going to have 4 Pantsirs sitting perfectly just defending this target. But again, it's purely proof of concept. So if it was just one Pantsir sitting here, it's going to struggle because, like CH said, it can only handle so many radar targets at a time. This is Pantsir SM, viewers. It's on a larger armoured truck. I mean, it's not very armoured, is it? I mean, it looks very... I mean, armoured to what? Rifle fire? I guess so.
Yeah, exactly. More or less, yeah, exactly. As we talked about before, I mean, even a BMP isn't. It's a grandmother driving.
Right, this is an easy kill, viewers. This is literally what this is designed to do.
But we talked about armour. I mean, the 2S38 is based on BMP armour, so it's more suitable for conditions where you could be facing small arms fire.
Yeah. Yeah, easy money. Yeah. Yep. Right, we all thought that was going to happen. And finally, the Big Bertha viewers, S400. This is a very controversial unit because we model it in DCS very well. It does a really, really good job. And we model it to the public data. And to be honest, the public data says that it should be very good. You know, debatably the world's best SAM system. Real life, you guys tell me that it's performed very bad. Now, why is that? Well, because in real life, it's so much... It's not a perfect environment like this. I mean, a great example is huge, powerful, big bird search radar it's got here, which makes it a really good system. But it also makes it hugely vulnerable. In real life, they don't dare turn these things on because they'll get shot by an American-provided harm. It's just not that simple in real life.
And not only that, you have to forget another thing that's... actually could be a big issue here is IFF. Russians don't seem to have the same kind of systems as the Western. You have to actually know which are the enemies. It's not like in game here you have colors.
Yep. No, that's a really good point, viewers. There is, I think the Russians work on this procedure as well. I know the Chinese do because they've even said they do. But if they're operating in a real front, then they send their aeroplanes up, viewers. They have Russian aeroplanes doing various operations. When that happens, they shut their SAMs down, because the risk of them shooting their own aeroplanes down is really high. It's just not worth the risk. And so they just shut their things down. Do you know if that's an American philosophy as well, or only a kind of red axis philosophy? I know it's definitely...
I remember the Western side did a lot of work on that. Didn't the Patriot system...
That's friendly fired before.
Friendly fired,
several times. Shot RAF planes down, tornadoes down.
Yeah, exactly. So I know they have made a lot of work on the data link systems, the IFF systems, and so forth. But I think there has been a lot of discussions with the Russian stuff here because they actually still shut stuff down to.
Yeah, which is interesting, viewers, because it means that if you want to use your SAM, you've got to stop all of your aircraft operations. So I'm not even sure these SAMs are ever bloody turned on. Now, when are they going to fire the most, oh, we've got a track. You see that guy there? That's the non-mast track radar. And when it's turned and pointing at something, it's got its attention on something. Let's just do a little bit of looking for the logs. So you've got two types of tails. These are the transporters with the missiles. The different types have different types of missiles. And that's because it's impossible to make a missile that does everything. You can't make a missile that goes 400 kilometers and is also good at low range. So what do? You put a whole series of different types of missiles on these tails, used for different circumstances. That's the way to do it, obviously. And the one that's gone out is, I can't remember these designations. You would know, 48N6DM, probably a medium range average one. Oh, it fired at about 20 miles. So why could it fire further, viewers? Because this is a really useful piece of Russian tech. Now, why America doesn't do this, I don't understand. But if you want to shoot low down stuff, you've got to use a peekaboo radar like this, 150 feet up in the sky, which can look over the Earth's horizon, look over the trees, and that's all modelled in game here. Now, speaking of why America doesn't do it, well, I don't know why. It's weird, and they should do it. But a guy was telling me that for a while they actually, I don't know if you know this, CH, they explored the option of having hot air balloons hovering 500 feet above the Patriots. This is a real thing that happened with the search radar up there. Needless to say, it didn't catch on.
Yeah.
Will this...
I mean, every meter of height gives, a lot of further range, you see,
And will they say absolutely? This is modeled really highly. Again, as per public data, there's very little chance it's going to miss. Also, it doesn't need to get very close to the thing because they carry big warheads.
Yeah, they're enormous in comparison.
So it needs to get like 200 feet away from it, and it'll atomize everything. They're so powerful, these warheads. That's it, yeah. Smack. Oh, one missed. Smack. Come on. No, no chance. We've got a different type of missile, a 9M, whatever that is. Oh, it's a little one. It's a little one. Close range. Yeah. All right. Note how it's much slower than the big ones, viewers. Because it's working at the range of it. Oh, one just flew right by there. Bang. And that's it. Easy meat. Right, viewers. So, I'm going to go back to the original one. That's taken a bit longer than I thought, but you know what? Science is fun. Okay, so what did well? Manpad didn't fire. It technically sort of is possible in real life. We've seen it, but it's very, very hard. And 99% of the time, you just won't get a track. 2S3 fired. It had a real good pop, but it missed.
No, I wasn't going to say, now we know why it didn't replace the Tunguska.
Doesn't do a lot. By the way, we didn't put the Tunguska in viewers because they're, as far as I'm aware, not using it now. SA-15M1 worked, but wasn't 100% PK. It took 75%, which for a 1990s unit, I can live with. That's probably about right. All Pantsirs wiped all of the units out, as they should do that. They should be able to shoot the Storm Shadow down, we think, with everything set to perfect. So, fair enough. SA-21 killed it before it got within 15 miles. Again, as in a perfect situation where there's no threats to the SA-21, it probably should do in real life if it has the tool radar. So I think that worked out to how it probably should do scientifically. Now, how is it going to work in real life with all the weird little quirks of real life? Well, we're going to have to see. I expect in real life the cruise missile will get through many more times than it did here.
Because when you're defending, you never know, as you mentioned, in what direction will they be fired, and also how many, and in which places. There are thousands of possible targets, and you can't have the same protection on every target all the time. So,
and you know,
it was the perfect setup for the defender.
Yeah, exactly. And you know as well, probably there's going to be Ukrainian MiG-29s out there with American harms on looking for your radar beacon. So it's a real cat and mouse game in real life, and I would not want to be a SAM operator. Absolutely.
And maybe a couple of MALDs in the future.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and that's something we're going to have to start looking at, is the MALD. But it's pretty enough for another day. That was great, CH. Well done for your bits that you made of these mods. I know it wasn't all of them, but some of them. Anything to add?
Nope.
Bye.